Hey everybody, Boris Schlossberg. Welcome to the crosses section for August 22nd, 2016. Again, the week is a sort of a quiet week, but there's some interesting intra-cross trades. That is, calm dollar against calm dollar trades and some calm dollar relative weakness trades that I think are worth taking a look at. I don't have sort of a broad selection of ideas, but I do have three that I think generally have some potential here, some of them in much more muted fashion than others, but definitely all of them worth looking. So the first idea I want to take a look at was the Kiwi CAD idea. And this is interesting to me because, CAD has been having a lot of strength lately because of the oil prices. And this is basically essentially a bet on oil topping out. If oil tops out, CAD shows some relative weakness. The break here below the 93 level provides further downside action. As to the upside action, it's relatively limited. It's a very tight trade because the stop is really like around 94.50 on a further continuation of CAD strength. I think that's a sort of interesting setup. It's very, very mild in terms of risk of pippage, and therefore maybe worth taking a look at. We'll take a look at it just a second in the charts. Second idea I had was Euro Pound, which is our old faithful. This is interesting because it's clearly forming a double top of the 87s, and sort of here, this is just kind of a binary trade. You just bet on the fact that 87.50 isn't going to clear as a double top. Double top holds. Again, the idea that possibly, this is really sort of a trade on the fact that cable isn't going to weaken much further. That's really what it's all about. That the Brexit issue isn't going to flare up. It's not going to be a wound where they're going to scratch the scratch the scab and open it up again. So hopefully if that doesn't happen, if cable can kind of stabilize, I think Euro Pound naturally flows off. Technically, it just looks good as a double top trade, and that's really one of the more interesting trades there. And then the last thing is sort of this, again, the relative weakness of Aussie that I showed you. It's a question of whether that relative weakness is going to accelerate, and if it does, then the Euro Aussie trade becomes kind of an interesting move. Let's take a look at the support resistance levels, and then I'll take a look at the chart. So Kiwi resist 94.50, support 93. Euro Pound, this 87 is the big resist. It's actually sort of 87.50 is where I would put the stop. Support 85, and then Euro Odd, the resist is 148 with support 145. And the idea here is that one of these, I'm betting that this one resistance holds. This one, the resistance may break to the upside and take us to 150. Let's take a look at the charts here, and let me show you what I mean. Oops, sorry. Hang on a second. I'm sorry. There we go. Okay, so first order of business, Kiwi CAD. Here we are. You'd almost, I said 94.50, but it almost doesn't even require 94.50. This is a very, very, very tight cross. Doesn't move much. It basically moved 100 points last week. Sort of if Canadian strength really takes off, if Canadian weakness really takes off, and we start to falter and oil starts to drop down, this trade becomes an interesting buy at this point with a 94.50 resist point. If, on the other hand, Canada continues to get stronger, then the break below 93 does open up a full run towards 92s. So to me, sort of a you buy this trade at this level with the assumption that 93 level holds. If 93 level starts to break down, you just get out of the trade. But it's really a bet on the fact that oil prices have kind of petered out. Canadian data should show some relative weakness, and Kiwi CAD has some mild upside here towards 94, 94.50. Not the most exciting thing in the world, but it's also one of the more safer ideas, I think, this week, and definitely worth taking a look at. So the second thing that I want to take a look at is something our old faithful. We've been following this and trading this quite a while over the last couple of months, but here we are, very clear indication that we are definitely coming up to a double top of the 87, right? I mean, it's if you take out 87.50, all bets are off. But I think this whole 87 to 87.50 is a very chunky area. Again, nothing more than just simply a bet on the fact that UK woes of Brexit are going to diminish rather than accelerate in the next week and a half, and that should give us relative strength to the pound and take the pound. If pound can go to 133, certainly we can move higher. So here the risk is about 100 points off of the market prices here. But I think it's maybe worthwhile to try and take a look at it. and see if you could get at least 85 or 80, 85.50 on an unwind of the move. Yes, we did open. We did close on the negatives for euro for long sterling positions, and that is euro pound rose. But you notice that it rose, but did not take out the highs, despite this sort of very negative headline that we had late Friday afternoon. And I think that's possibly a tell of the exhaustion of the move and the fact that we have a reasonable chance here to call the top and have it move down back towards the 85 level. So, and the last thing is the Euro Aussie trade, which we're looking to the upside. This is just really nothing more than just a bet on relative weakness in the Aussie. So yes, we 48s have been the big resist area. Now, let me just bring up the data display window. You guys can actually see this more granular. So the highs here is 49. The high here is kind of like almost 49 here, right? True weakness of the Aussie really could push us towards the 150. I mean, if you look at it technically, nice clean W double bottom. Still lots of potential here towards the 150. Maybe if you're trading more defensively, you could try to buy the dip below the 148s if you get a little bit of a dip below 148 and position yourself well. 46 would really eliminate this as a strong buy point. But I think given the momentum and given the weakness in the Aussie, any kind of a buy to dip here for a potential move to the upside could be an interesting trade on the cross level as we go forward. So that's kind of it. I'm basically betting on the fact that cable stops falling and euro pound starts falling. I'm betting on the idea that Aussie is definitely showing a little bit of loss of momentum, and that should give us a little bit of push in the euro Aussie move. And the last thing is the intra COM dollar trade of Kiwi CAD. Just basically betting on the fact that oil has petered out at the 50, and we can get a little bit of juice out of the Kiwi CAD to the upside. Wish you guys the best luck, the best of trading. Boris Schlossberg, over and out.